It's a heat of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup between the King's School Canterbury and Abingdon School. And they're straight into this one, and a reasonably smooth start by both crews.
Yeah, quite a tense first stroke. Again, you wound up all day, desperate to get the power down there. So the first stroke, the temptation is to rip it through the water and smash it. But I think they've got away, both of them, very cleanly. Abingdon looking like the ratings up a bit higher on the right-hand side of our picture, wanting to get ahead, wanting to get that early lead. And this start phase is so critical.
It is so critical, and as you say, words like ripping and smashing are not the ideal words really for how you want to get off the start. And there's just that little bit of tension that the Abingdon crew look like they could have perhaps just been holding those blades a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. They're now getting into that smoother rhythm that I think the coach Mark Earnshaw will be pleased with.
Yeah, this is looking longer and looser, and the early nerves seem to have gone out of the window as they start to get into their pace for the race. And looks like they've got an early edge, but it's quite early in the start phase, and really at this point it's just moving fast is what the crews are trying to do. Moving fast and lengthening the stroke out as you think about moving towards the centre section of the course and a sustainable rhythm, and that's the transition they're making right now.
And as they move down the course, the Abingdon crew will have just kept pushing that distance out, and really it's just, as Matt said, it's just a smooth stroke. They're not hitting it, they're just moving smoothly, and have opened up this gap, which to me from this shot looks like about a length of clear water as they have come through the halfway point, coming up towards the 3/4 mile.
Yeah, this Abingdon crew, great performance in the B final of the Championship 8s at the National School Regatta, where they got a win, and their time was pretty strong as well. They would have been in the mix in the A final, so that's a pretty good form. And Abingdon have done well in the Princess Elizabeth in the past, and these guys will be looking to match up to the performances of some of their predecessors. But this is looking like a pretty strong row after a slightly jittery start, but they've lengthened out and they're moving the boat pretty smoothly.
I think they'll be pleased to get their first race under their belt. Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, one of the fantastic races here for schoolboys 18 and under, and they will need to race all 5 days if they're going to go the whole way. So there's a building motivation, a building enthusiasm and momentum that goes on through the regatta. As we look to the right, the crew from the King's School Canterbury, and as we look now at the smoothness within the crew from Abingdon, taking a look down there, Connor Brown in the stroke seat.
Yeah, so Connor grew up actually locally here, not far from the barrier, so he'll have been pleased to get past that marker in the early part of the race, and he's watched the regatta every single year, so absolutely overjoyed to be in one of the key boats in the competition. He's also a GB trialist in the sweep oar, and he's in a good seat in the boat to help set up the rest of the crew, which he's doing very nicely.
The King's School Canterbury are a young crew. They're hoping to feed off this experience and hope to return in years to come. Having not raced in the 8 too much, they didn't race at National School, so this hopefully is just getting good experience on the regatta course at Henley.
Several of the Abingdon crew have raced in the regatta before, and that does help. One of the things about this course of 2,112 metres is it's not a standard distance, and the markers down the course are not at 250 and 500 metres, and so much of the racing these schools crews will have been doing this year is on 2,000 metre marked courses. So I remember well my first race at Henley as a tender 15-year-old, really finding I wasn't quite sure on the course where I was, and that first day can be incredibly nerve-wracking. So getting a successful first day out of the way, looking at Robert Smith in the bow seat of the Abingdon crew. It's his first Henley, he's in the lower 6, so similarly a young athlete, only 17 years of age, and this experience is exactly what you want your first day of Henley to be like.
They'll be able to race the boat today, and then I'm sure they'll go home and they'll debrief, they'll talk about what works, they'll talk about what they might want to do differently, whether they might want to be that little bit smoother off the start, keep their heads just a little bit calmer. As we take a look now at the crew from King's Canterbury, AP Lapsley in the bow seat, still moving as smoothly as they can, backing each other up as effectively as they can, looking to raise the stroke rate in front of the grandstand. But Abingdon looking really strong here as we look at the camera on the progress board that marks about 10 strokes to go.
Yeah, very nice first day's row from the Abingdon School crew, and I think Mark Earnshaw, their coach, will be happy with that as the first day of the regatta.
So Abingdon crossed the line there with what looks like a good smooth start to their regatta ahead of the King's School Canterbury Boat Club just crossing the line now, and you'll see confirmation of that result in the Prince Elizabeth Cup, a win for Abingdon School over King's School Canterbury.
And they'll meet Latimer tomorrow.